Hey, welcome to another episode of the Philosophy Podcast. I am your host, Controversy, and to my right, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, none other than Mr.
Darren Love, one of the best philosophers in the world.
That's it, straight from the horse's mouth. I'm not calling you a horse or anything, mate.
Yeah, you did. I'm not a horse.
So what is on the agenda for this week, mate? What is today's
Hot topic.
That's it. What is it, mate?
I thought we'd talk about purpose today. You know,
Purpose?
What is the purpose to everything, you know?
That's a good one, mate. That's a
What is
a great choice. Great, yeah.
It's funny, isn't it, life? You know, you're born, and you have a childhood, and enjoy that, whatever, you know. And then you grow up, and then you have children, and then you realise you're not here for long in a kind of way, you know.
Where?
We're only here temporary.
Facts.
And you realise what is the purpose to life really when it's going to be over and maybe forgotten. You know, it's possible, isn't it? You know, you think like, well, where are we going next, you know?
And as harsh as it might sound, everyone gets forgotten about eventually. Even the biggest people, like Michael Jackson, that we're talking about, just for an example, as we're talking about this. In 300 years, 200 years, 250 years, 300 years from now, people are not going to be talking about Michael Jackson. Or if you see what I mean, you know? That's just a reality of life. Time makes people forget, and I think also a part of the healing process for a lot of people is to try to forget in a way. Not in a bad way, but to try and help them heal, help them deal with the pain and the trauma of losing a loved one. You kind of, over time, you learn to kind of let go, if you see what I mean. You know, accept the fact that, you know, we're all mortal beings, and our time comes to an end, doesn't it, eventually?
It does. It does, sadly, and it's like my mum, she's 20 years older than me, and I'm coming up to 60, so she's coming up to 80.
Yeah.
And that's one of the hardest things about life, really, accepting that we're not here forever.
Yeah.
And then you sort of think, oh, what's the point of anything? You know, what's the point of learning even? If you sort of mean, what's the point of getting out of bed or whatever?
It's funny because there's a scripture in the Bible. Not that we ever quote the Bible much or anything on our show, but there's a scripture in the Bible that's quite funny. I can't remember if it's a psalm. Please forgive me, I can't remember correctly. I can't remember if it's a psalm or something else, but there is I think in the Bible where someone's talking, and it's basically he's asking himself that question. And it's basically him asking it over and over. He keeps repeating different things and questioning himself. And to each thing he keeps saying it's meaningless. If you see what I mean, because I know where it is. It's that saying comes from the Bible where it says there's nothing new under the sun. If you see what I mean, there's nothing new that happens or takes place under the sun. It's all happened before. Everything that's happened in life has happened before. If you see what I mean, you know, kingdoms have risen and fallen. Empires have risen and fallen. Civilizations come and go. Societies come and go. Cultures come and go. Religions come and go. Spiritual systems come and go. People come and go.
Tribes come and
go. Go on.
It goes on and on, doesn't it, really? But it is a sad fact that we're only temporary. You know, and I even know that I'm not going to be here forever.
Yeah.
I think the purpose of life really is to enjoy it really, and learn to enjoy life. Learn not to get angry really about anything and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Learn really sort of to be happy with yourself basically.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I think that's the purpose of life really, and I think it takes time to learn those things really. You know, it doesn't take someone singing.
Someone singing in the background. That's funny. Yeah.
Someone's doing a karaoke over the road.
Yeah.
There's a pub over the road.
Really. But we shall endure.
Yeah.
We will not allow anyone to interrupt our podcast.
No. Well, I forgot what I was talking about now. You know.
Yeah. You're talking about tribes coming and going. and how life, the purpose of life, you know, questioning it, you know.
Yeah, like I say, I think like it's no good sort of being negative about it, is it? And thinking, oh, you know, I'm not here for long. There's no point, you know. You know what I mean? There is a point.
There is a point, yeah.
There is a point, and that is really sort of make yourself shine to everyone else, you know, light to everyone else, really, you know, be the sunshine, really.
Yeah, I like
which I feel like we all are, really, you know, but in the world we're living in, someone's singing. In the world we're living in, it's tough for people to be happy.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah. Especially this current world we live in today.
Yeah, you know, where I feel like we're living in a system where we've got to do things, you know, and then it's bank holiday.
Yeah.
And people can have a little holiday and things, and it's a bit of an order, really. It's an old world order, if you ask me.
And
we're all going by a timetable, a clock.
Yes.
If you see what I mean, and it's tough to go by this clock. It's unhumane, if you call it. You know, it's not natural. You see what I mean? This clock. They're all going by.
Yeah.
You know, there's like 12 hours in the day, yeah, and then 12 hours during the night.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's 12 months in a year.
Yeah.
There's 12 days to Christmas.
Yeah.
And you know, there's all sorts of things.
12 constellations.
Exactly.
12 tribes.
Yeah.
12 cranial nerves, like we talk about a lot.
Yeah.
In the brain, in the head, you've got 12 cranial nerves. You've got the 33 vertebrae. 33 vertebrae. That's why it says that Christ died and Christ was resurrected at 33. It was talking about something. It was talking about the sacred, the Kundalini energy. Because not to get too deep, but for anyone that's interested, there's something at the base of our spine called Kundalini energy. Excuse me. And basically, you have two nerves at the bottom of our backs. That when they travel up through the spine, when the energy travels up through the spine, yeah, and goes up to the top of the vertebrae, yeah, it basically releases releases what they used to call back in the day as a sacred oil. Yeah, it's basically what's produced by the pineal gland. When that energy rises up from the base of your spine, it comes up your vertebrae and travels up into into the colostrum and comes down, because there's a part of your brain too called the colostrum in your brain called the colostrum. Travels up to the colostrum, and this is where Santa Claus comes from. Colostrum. See where it comes from? Santa Claus brings us presents, because from the colostrum it releases that sacred oil down to the pineal gland. Right. Which works in conjunction with something else called your pituitary gland in the brain.
Scientific, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Very scientific.
So I told you,
very deep.
I need to start talking about these things more and teaching a little bit more, I think, as well, because there's a lot of knowledge and information that I've spent years, I don't study as much as I used to in comparison, you know, but going back 10, 15 years ago, I was studying all the time. Like I was always in a book or online researching something or looking up something all the time. All my free time I spent like for years, you know what I mean? Like I was heavily into research and
I still love learning today. You know, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and hopefully if I get time I'm going to learn something new. And yeah, I love researching, and I think that is the purpose of life, really, sort of understanding life. I think trying to understand life, or understanding the history as well. That's important, really, to understand the truth of the history. What happened? What's the truth? Yeah, you see.
And they tell you that they always tell people when you're young. They say, "Oh, no one knows the truth," but I'll tell you here and now that is a lie, because that is what started my quest for knowledge and understanding, and a deeper understanding of the world and everything else, creation and life, and you know everything, the whole, everything wrapped up into one. That's what started my journey, because I remember being young and having all these very deep questions. People used to always say to me, "You've got all these deep questions about life and religion and God and existence and all these things." And I remember being young and no one could ever give me a definitive answer. No one could say to me, oh, you know, the creationists are right, or the evolutionists are right, or this is right, or, you know, this theory is right, or
scientists are right.
Or exactly. There was no one, and that was the case for a lot of questions growing up, because I used to always have these deep questions about, like I said, about life, all these things, and no one could ever kind of give me like a 100% clear answer where I could say, okay, this is the truth, like you were just saying, this is, you know, the gospel.
Well, I think everyone's
so to speak,
seeking
you know?
for the truth, aren't they, really, at
Oh,
the end of the day?
Yeah.
Well, not everyone. There's
Yeah.
some people that are not interested at all.
Mm.
Or there's some people that don't even know that they're alive, I think, you know, if you sort of mean.
Yeah,
Or,
they just exist.
well, you know, a lot of people are brainwashed, if you ask me, out
Mm.
there as well. There's
Yeah,
like all
facts.
kinds of people, if you ask me, out there, you know.
Mm.
And it's whether I mean, if you've searched for your truth yourself, if you sort of mean, which I do, and I think you do,
Yeah.
and that's what I think most people enjoy, searching for the truth, really. You know, it is the main purpose of life, isn't it?
Mm.
And I think once you do find the truth, I feel like you can smile a little bit more in life. You know, it is wisdom after all, isn't it? Knowing the truth, if you see what I mean. So yeah, I think that's one purpose of life, really, finding the truth. What?
Your truth.
Yeah.
And also the truth as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I think both are important, because everyone has their own truth. What they subscribe to, what they believe, what they hold dearest to them, their faith, or whatever it may be, whatever they choose to subscribe to, whatever they hold, like I said, you know, dearest to them. And that's an individual thing, that's subjective, it's opinion based. But you can find the truth, I promise you, you can find the truth. And my goal, well, not even my goal, my job, I guess is the best way to put it, and my mate's job as well also, is to really not really sit here and tell people what the actual universal truth is, if you see what I mean. Because I think that's for people to find out. I think people have to go on their own quest and their own journey of soul searching and etc. You know, to really find who they are and to get a deeper understanding of life and their life and just life in general. That's a personal journey that we all have to embark on. So I could sit here, we could go on for hours about science, all the science behind how the world was, how life started and was created, and how things have evolved and changed, and etc. Genetic experiments being conducted on man, loads of different things we could go on about. But it's for people out there. You can find it. You just got to spend a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of years as well too. Not days, years, educating yourself. Because even people that I follow today, people that I would consider master teachers, if you see what I mean, these people are still learning new shit themselves too occasionally, and coming out and saying, oh, I've just found out about this, and this is, connects to this, and this is why, now it all makes sense, and so yeah,
Well, I mean, history itself, it goes along. It's very complicated, really, because it goes back many centuries, doesn't it? That when I look back, when I went out to school, when I did my history lessons, I felt like I didn't learn anything at school, really, about what I'm learning today. I feel like I didn't really have an interest in history when I was at school, if you see what I mean. It didn't. And I feel like what they did teach me, I can't remember.
Okay.
Or
it wasn't useful.
I just felt it. I felt history lessons were very boring.
Okay.
So it just didn't interest me. Like I say, I think I've mentioned it before in other episodes that I was a bit of an artist. I just enjoyed drawing a lot. I mean, that was me.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not really interested in history when I was a young man either. I was sort of more interested in women at that age, and I want, and then getting married and all that, and having children, and going through all that bit.
Yeah.
But now I'm an older person. I love history.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can never stop learning. And I'm sort of like, it's amazing really when you dabble into history and the ruins around the world and all this, and they're opening them up more and more. They're discovering more and more each day. Do you know what I mean? And they're find these sites to be, you know, sort of like looked at for the first time now and this kind of stuff. You know, the world is slowly getting more opened up, especially where we've got the internet and we can share this information very quickly to a vast amount of people. Where, you know, I think we're all kind of learning together, really. I feel like we're kind of like a lot of us.
Yeah.
I know that I'm one of them, all right. Totally lost from history. You know, our ancestors. I've got no understanding of where it went. You know, in a kind of way. You know, I feel like I've got no. My family, like I said, come from a big family.
Yeah.
But they went through First World War, Second World War, and I feel like it destroyed it in a way. Do you know what I mean? And you know, I just don't know my own family.
Your roots, your lineage, your family history.
Oh, I know my granddad come from Ireland, all right, and I think my nan come from Germany.
Okay.
Or whatever, and they met in Southampton in England, whatever, because my granddad went to war from Birmingham and had to sort of like travel to Southampton, get off a boat, and there you go, he met my nan, and I think a lot of, you can imagine a lot of soldiers coming off the boats and all this, meeting young ladies, and tying up with them and having children. I mean, this is happening a lot. And I don't know why I'm going off the, you know, the purpose here. It's what I'm talking about, really.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think personally, I think the purpose of life is what I always say all the time. And anyone that's watched any of our podcasts and our episodes will, you know, I'm sorry to say the same thing again, but it's as simple as that. That's what it is for me anyway. You know, like I said earlier, it's all subjective, but I believe the purpose of life is growth and evolution as a human being. You're supposed to be continually growing.
Like a tree.
As a human, not only,
like an oak tree.
But not, obviously you get to a certain point where you grow physically. You get to a certain age where you stop growing physically, but I'm talking about mentally and emotionally and psychologically and intellectually and spiritually, financially. This is what it's about, and also enlightenment to knowledge of self and of life and the world. Yeah, all those things combined. I think I think we come here for. Well, okay. I know not everyone will agree with this, and that's completely fine, but I'm just going to speak my truth very quickly. I believe personally, based on all the years of research and everything else that I've done, I believe that we choose to come here before we're even born. We've all got something, what is called a soul contract. Yeah? Each and every human being has a soul. It's a human being. Everyone has a contract. I believe personally that everyone chooses to come to Earth before they're born for a particular reason. We exist in our spiritual form. We exist in a in the fifth dimension. Yeah, our planet is a three-dimensional plane. The only way you can come and live on the planet, well, not the only way, but a spirit, if you see what I mean. In order to live physically, you have to have a body. So I believe that we choose to come here. We either come here to learn lessons and life lessons and other things like that, if you see what I mean. But I believe we all come here for a reason, and going back to, like you said, purpose. I believe we all come here for a purpose. Not everyone fulfills their purpose in which they're supposed to fulfill in the time that they're here, if you see what I mean. Not everyone does it, so that's why the whole reincarnation thing comes back into play. And this is something else that is deep too, and you can research this as well. I won't go too much into depth into it because it's very deep. Again, it's a very deep topic, but look up the moon, the Saturn moon soul trap. Yeah, if anyone's interested in it, if it sparks your interest, I'm only saying if you watch this and it does spark your interest, look into the moon and reincarnation. Yeah, look into the Saturn moon matrix. If you type that in, it will bring up it will talk about how all the ancient people and ancient scholars and lots of different people believe that the moon was a reincarnation thing for your soul. They all believed that when people died, if you weren't enlightened enough, intellectually and otherwise, to go back to a higher dimension. If your consciousness, your vibration, your frequency wasn't high enough to return back to its original state of a higher consciousness in a different dimension, then you had to reincarnate to come back here again to learn your lessons so that you could hopefully eventually learn all the lessons you're supposed to learn and fulfill your purpose and then transcend, if you see what I mean. And like I said, I know I'm getting very deep. I completely understand that, and it's not going to be for everyone, and I get that, and that's fine.
It is a theory, isn't it? Yeah.
But if you research it, talking about doing so, even people today, lots of people, the ancient people, it started off the ancient people, they all believed, and even today there's lots of evidence and things to suggest this. A lot of modern day scholars have come out and spoken about this, how they believe that, yeah, that it's the moon essentially, yeah, works in conjunction with Saturn. There's a Saturn moon, something to do with Saturn and the moon and how it works, and essentially how when people die, it reincarnates their soul. And that's a very, very interesting thing to look into. So
it is kind of funny that all of us, yeah, usually when it gets dark, okay, we all go to sleep.
Yeah.
Probably not in this modern day, okay, because I tell you why, because we discovered electricity in a kind of way, you know, and we're living in a 24-hour system in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
Like years ago, yeah, a long time ago, I mean, they've had candles for millions of years, yeah, people. Okay, so they could see in the caves, do you know what I mean? You know, and things like that, a long, long time ago, and things like that. So they sort of like knew how to sort of make fire, and light it up with oil, and all that, and light up all the caves. But like, not a lot of people had that sort of technology. Or could afford it, or knew it, you know. At that time, you know, only a few people knew that. You sort of mean? Yeah. Or discovered it.
Well, I guess back then they were. I guess back then too, they were still in the process of trying to figure out what was flammable. Yeah. What would burn? That's right. What would burn essentially?
Well, I think what happened, you know, once they were, you know, like, do you know volcanoes and all that? Sometimes they got fire. And they probably cooking meat on there and noticed the oil coming off. If you see what I mean, and they realised it could burn their rag or you know, their material,
their materials,
whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, they've discovered these things very slowly over time, do you know what I mean? And it's taken many, many years for mankind to get as far as they are today. You know, look at around us today, look at all the inventions around. And like tomorrow, you know, someone might pop up with something else. With a new toaster that goes in quicker, that you put the toaster in there and press the button and it's done 1 second. Sort of, or something like that, do you know what I mean? You know, we're always sort of improving our technology too, and coming up with new things, new games, new computer games as well, new software.
Graphics are improving and getting better constantly.
You know, we're kind of like, the cameras are getting better, you know, I mean, when I was younger, like 20 years old, it used to be wet film. You know, now it's all digital, do you know what I mean? It's a strange world we're living in a funny way, you know. Like the digital cameras that are coming out now, like I was looking at this Nikon E1000. And the zoom, you've got to check it out. It's
incredible.
You know, you sort of like look at a mountain, alright, and then zoom in and you can see a little girl there with a note. Can you read this?
I think the furthest distance was 2.36 kilometers. And that was like close to 2 miles or something like that. Something like that.
You can read what someone's saying.
He was literally zoomed in. He was literally zoomed in from like 2 miles away.
So I'm going to save up for that camera.
He was literally 2 miles away, mate. That was incredible.
I'm going to save up for that camera.
I don't know why we're doing a thing. Nikon should be paying us for this, mate. For this promotion. You know what I mean? But it was a great camera, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's the best zoom camera I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Like the detail. Or how close you can get is amazing.
So yeah, if someone at Nikon sees this, you know, we need a check. You know, promoting your camera, but it is a good camera.
But, you know, so, you know, people are always inventing stuff. They're always drawing. They're always drawing new designs for buildings as well. You know, we've got hands, for goodness sake. You know, and birds haven't got hands. You know, they can't do all this. People can. And they've been doing it century after century after century. You know, sort of many people working with their hands, writing books, big books, you know, like monks in rooms day after day for long hours, you know, so they can just write one book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so on. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the purpose really of life is to be alive, isn't it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, even a daffodil or a flower's got a purpose, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It wakes up and it's got a purpose. It wants to be alive, doesn't it?
But it's like even dandelions, say for example,
Yeah.
something as simple as a dandelion, people don't even realise that these things have health benefits. Dandelion essentially is one of the best things apparently for your heart health.
I didn't know that.
They say apparently,
apparently
they say dandelion, especially like if you like make like homemade dandelion tea to drink. Apparently they said that's one of the best things for you. Apparently for your body, general health and your heart health. Apparently, so there's lots of things out there that people consider, like you say, might look at it and say, oh, that's insignificant. Why is it there? Why does it exist? What's the purpose? It has a purpose. It's like someone was talking about sharks yesterday. I watched a very short video, someone talking about sharks. And he was so spot on. Basically, if you think about it, right? The sharks, what the sharks add to the ecosystem of the oceans is absolutely incredible. If you see what I mean, just the sharks alone.
Yeah,
if you see what I mean, if it was just fish, they would all just eat each other. If you see what I mean. But where you've got different, obviously not just sharks, but I'm just saying sharks in particular are one thing that add, if you see what I mean, a lot to the ecosystem of the oceans. If you see what I mean.
Even whales got a purpose.
Yes, that's what. Yeah, so everything has essentially has a purpose.
Everything really has, you know, in life.
Yeah.
I think we connect as well. It's like, I can't explain it, you know, it's like the outside world is a living being. I feel like, you know, it's like
the universe is alive.
We wouldn't exist, would we? We wouldn't be able to exist if we didn't have a place to breathe.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like we're so lucky to have a planet that's got oxygen around it and we're breathing, you know. We're very, very lucky.
Yeah.
Not many planets have got that, do you know what I mean? And we're just so lucky that it's got beautiful trees on it, beautiful flowers, you know. And you think about all the different flowers on there and all the different vegetables out there and what the earth actually gives us, you know. You think like, you know, like, say vegetables for instance, you know, you get onions and you get potatoes and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The seeds kind of look, if you look at all the little tiny seeds, they look a little bit different, but they're not much different. You know? And then you put them in a bit of dirt and they're completely different. You know, you taste an onion compared to a potato, completely different. You know, and everything's, you know, like lemon, completely different. Orange, banana, you know, and it's like, it's just a spectrum of taste. It's like a rainbow, you know. It's like I can't explain it, you know. It's just beautiful when you think about it, like what the earth's giving us.
Yeah.
This, you know how many different fruits there are. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I don't think they put half of them or a quarter of them in our supermarkets, and they've got a lot of different ones in our supermarkets, if you see what I mean. But I know there's loads of different, lots of fruits missing.
Yeah.
Because I've done.
The trouble is too today though, you got a lot of, not to go too far off topic, but you got a lot of GMO fruits today as well. Everything's coming, excuse me, everything's coming seedless. A lot of shit's coming seedless. Grapes, watermelons, all this type of stuff. Yeah. It's just GMO. That's all it is. It's genetically modified vegetables and if you want to buy organic, it is more expensive. I must say that me and my wife do try to buy, when it comes to like fruits and veg and all that kind of stuff in particular, we try to buy more organic stuff if we can. If you can find it, you can't always find it. So you have to buy the best, well,
propaganda, is it?
Pomegranate?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
I sometimes say that word wrong, but that's one of the most healthiest fruits ever.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Apparently that's good for your heart too. I've heard it too as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it sounds so beautiful what this earth gives us, really, all these different tastes.
But if you think about it, right, all the medicine, yeah, that's why I like that saying, that I can't remember who said it, but it's someone